Welcome, everyone. We are just going to give a minute or two to allow everyone to join the call. Delighted to see a huge amount of people joining the call now. It's fantastic. Okay. I think we'll kick off. Good afternoon, everyone, and you are all very welcome. Thank you for taking the time, particularly in the middle of a busy working week, to join us for today's webinar, Starting Your AI Journey. It's great to see such strong and continued engagement from SME leaders and managers right across the country. For those of you I haven't met before, my name is Michelle Thompson, Strategic Partnerships Manager at SkillNet Ireland. And on behalf of SkillNet Ireland and Enterprise Ireland, I'm delighted to welcome you to the final webinar in this AI Discovery series. Next slide, please. And we'll skip on again. So this series really reflects a shared ambition between SkillNet Ireland and Enterprise Ireland to support SME leaders and businesses across the country to better understand, adapt to, and adopt AI in a way that strengthens business competitiveness and long-term growth. As we all know, AI is moving quickly, and while the opportunity is clear, we know the real challenge for many businesses is understanding what it means for them, where to start, and how to move forward with confidence. Next slide, please. So, over the past few months, we've taken a structured approach to supporting that journey. We began in March with our first webinar, Demystifying AI for SME Leaders. Then we had Data, Ethics and Governance for AI in April. And last month, we covered Applied AI in the Real World and heard directly from business leaders about their experiences. Alongside these webinars, many of you also completed a short questionnaire as part of registration, and that's given us valuable insight into where Irish SMEs currently are on their AI journey. Next slide. And so what we're seeing is a strong appetite and increasing momentum. So about 40% of businesses are planning to expand their use of AI. 28% are planning to pilot AI tools within the next 6 to 12 months, and 31% of you are still in the phase of gathering information and evaluating options. So, overall, the vast majority of businesses are clearly moving toward adoption, whether that's exploring, piloting, or scaling. And on the right hand side there, when we look at skills and capability, a similar picture emerges. Around 19% of organizations already have staff who can use AI tools. 17% have some technical or analytical capability, and 14% are at a basic awareness stage. So, while there is a growing foundation, it is clear that building skills and confidence remains a key priority. And that's something we've been really mindful of throughout the series. Across all three webinars to date, the engagement has been really strong, and there's a clear appetite from you to move beyond awareness and into action. So thank you to all of you who have joined along the way. Your participation has really helped shape this series. Next slide. And so that brings us to today. This is our fourth and final webinar in this series, and it is very much focused on action. Today's session is titled Starting Your AI Journey, and it's about helping you move from understanding to actually getting started. So we'll be looking at the supports available to you, the practical first steps you can take, and how to begin progressing AI in a way that is realistic and aligned to your business. So let me just briefly outline how the next hour will run. We have three speakers joining us today, each bringing a different perspective on how SMEs can move forward with AI. So first we'll hear from Laura Clifford, Senior Programme Manager in Enterprise Ireland, who will provide an overview on the European Digital Innovation Hub programme, referred to as EDIH or EDIs. And Laura will talk about the four EDIs in Ireland and how you can best engage with them to support you with your AI adoption journey. Next, we'll be joined by Kevin Doolan, Executive Director from the Walton Institute and SETU, who will speak to how you can define the business problem, consider various implementation approaches, manage AI risk, and create a 30-day plan to get started. And finally, Barry Fitzpatrick, Service Portfolio Manager from Factory Exchange based in IMR. And Barry's going to cover the human challenge, people readiness and oversight, and getting the organisation ready to deploy AI. So together, we hope these three perspectives will give you a clear and practical pathway forward with actionable steps that you can take back into your organisation. Following the three presentations, we'll then move into a Q&A session. So please do submit your questions as we go along using the Q&A function. We'll do our best to get through as many as possible, time permitting. And then Alexa Toomey, Head of Scaling and Enterprise Strategies for Enterprise Ireland, will close out the session and the series with some key takeaways and next steps, including where you can access supports and who you can connect with to get started. So please note, AI note takers are not permitted in the session and will be removed. However, we will be sharing today's presentation with all attendees, and that presentation will include that contact information for the Eddies, Enterprise Ireland and SkillNet Ireland. All webinars have been recorded to date and will soon be available online through the Enterprise Ireland website. So you'll have the opportunity to revisit the content and share it more widely within your organisations. So with that, thank you again for joining us. And it is now my pleasure to hand over to our first speaker. Laura, over to you.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks very much. So look, as Michelle said, my name is Laura Clifford. I'm the Senior Programme Manager of the European Digital Innovation Hubs in Ireland. I'm going to refer to them as Eddies throughout because it's quite a mouthful. Later on, you're going to hear from 2 of the 4 national Eddies. You'll hear from Kevin, who will talk about AI for business, and you'll hear from Barry, who will talk about starting your AI journey. So to set the scene, I'm just going to give you a very short overview of what the European Digital Innovation Hubs are, who they're for, how they work, and how you can engage with them. So next slide, please. So this is really just a summary of a full deck that I would normally present. I'm going to try and keep it short and succinct, and I believe there's opportunity for Q&A later on. So starting with the Eddy Network, this is a pan-European community of experts who are working together to reshape the digital landscape for SMEs and public sector organisation. The initiative is led by the European Commission under the Digital Europe programme and brings together more than 250 hubs strategically placed across all member states. And the Eddies' role is really to support companies to tap into the potential of digitalization and help them improve production processes, boost their efficiency, and outpace global competitors. The support they provide to business is through access to expertise, to training, and to testing facilities. And they help organizations to adopt technologies such as AI, cybersecurity, high performance computing, IoT, and advanced manufacturing, to name some. In Ireland, Eddies launched in 2023 for an initial phase of 36 months, and they are now transitioning out of phase 1 into a second phase. And I'm very pleased to say that the government has announced a further €23 million investment to support the next phase of the Eddies, an additional 36 months. So there are 4 Eddies in Ireland distributed across the island, providing both regional and sectoral support. Entire, which is led by the Tyndall National Institute in Cork and partnered with the Walton Institute in Setu, offers expertise in state-of-the-art infrastructure, supporting organisations to deploy AI, cybersecurity solutions, and Internet of Things systems and sensors, among other enabling technologies. The second of the 4 is Factory Exchange, which is led by the Irish Manufacturing Research in Mullingar, and this focuses on enabling Industry 5.0 factories to accelerate digital transformation in manufacturing. The third is Data to Sustain, led by Atlantic Technological University in the west of Ireland. This focuses on advancing digitalisation and AI-driven innovation across industry sectors and application domains such as UX, software, AI, Internet of Things, and other key technologies. And last but not least, CEDAR, which is led by UCD, supports companies in any sector to digitalise, where the goal is to digitalise using artificial intelligence. The model for the Eddies is to provide access in 3 ways. The first of those is regions, and that's reflected in the geographic locations of the Eddies in Ireland. And this is closely aligned with the Smart Specialisation Strategy, which aims to strengthen regional innovation ecosystems. The second path for access is through partners. In phase 1, there were a total of 18 consortium partners. For example, SkillNet and the Walton Institute partner with Entire, Westbic partners with Data to Sustain, KPMG with Factory Exchange. So clients can avail of access to all of those consortium partners and consultants and digital strategists once they deal with the Eddy, and this is at a fully discounted rate. And the third access point is into Europe. So they will offer access through the Eddies into facilities such as the AI factories and other European network supports. All 4 Eddies offer services under 4 pillars, and those pillars are ecosystem building, test before invest services, support to find investment, and skills development. By December last year, the Eddies had collectively supported over 1,660 companies through the delivery of 3,200 individual services, and 80% of those organizations supported were SMEs. So those services include things like access to test bed facilities, access to training and upskilling. For example, the EU AI Act online course provided by CEDAR, which has had almost 5,000 learners on that course. And typically the services provided by the Eddies are not IP generating. They're primarily there to support the adoption of and upskilling in the use of digital technologies. So to wrap up, who are the Eddies for? How do they operate? Well, they're for any company of any size up to mid cap. The company should be trading and have available de minimis balance. Sole traders are eligible, as are DACs and CLGs, exporters and non exporters. So that's LEO clients, EI clients, and IDA clients up to mid cap. The state aid basis for the support is de minimis, and that means that the services are typically up to 100% discounted, subject to eligibility criteria. And really, really simple engagement model. The client contacts the Eddie, initiates the conversation. The Eddie will provide the client with a self-declaration form to complete to ensure they have sufficient de minimis balance to avail of the service. The first step in the engagement will be to complete a digital maturity assessment, which is then revisited after the service has been delivered to ensure continued impactful delivery of service. The other services provided by the Eddies are signposting. So if there are other supports or tech centres, effectively this is a one-stop shop with a no wrong door policy. So really the key message today from the Eddies is that they are open and ready to support SMEs and public sector organisations to embark on the digital journey and offer this single entry point into a suite of national and European digital supports. And happy to answer any questions later on. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Laura, for that. Really appreciate it. It's great to see the breadth of supports and that kind of one-stop shop approach that the Eddies provide. So your overview has really set the scene for our next two speakers, as you said, who represent two of the four Eddies in Ireland. So I'll now hand over to Kevin Doolan, Executive Director from the Walton Institute in SETU, who's part of the entire Eddie. Over to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Michelle. I hope everyone can hear me okay. My name is Kevin Doolan. As Michelle said, I'm the Executive Director of the Walton Institute in Southeast Technological University. And has been mentioned, Walton is part of the entire EDIH or EDI, and we also have our own technology gateway, the ICS Technology Gateway. So we can provide multiple supports to companies wanting to engage with AI or any other technology. And in fact, we're at the moment commissioning our own high-powered artificial intelligence and high-performance computing system within the data center that we have in Walton. So if companies need to process huge amounts of data and interact with AI, we have that capability there. Next slide, please. So just in terms of this talk, before I begin, I really want to just start with a typical conversation I had recently with the managing director of an engineering company locally. And he said to me, you know, every event I attend talks about AI and every newsletter tells me AI is transforming business. And I know we should be doing something, but honestly, I don't know what that something is or where to begin. And, you know, many organizations are asking exactly the same question. And I've heard it from a lot of businesses. I have another role in Waterford Chamber of Commerce where we hear this all the time. But companies don't need another explanation of what ChatGPT is. It's quite widely adopted at the moment. And in fact, in terms of the scale of adoption, ChatGPT did reach 800 million users faster than any other consumer technology in history. So it's very much out there. But companies don't need another prediction that AI is going to change the world. And what they need is a practical roadmap. Where do they start? How do they avoid expensive mistakes? And how do they create real business value? And that's what we're hoping to cover today. So by the end of this presentation, I hope you'll leave with a simple framework that you can take back to your own organization. Next slide, please. So artificial intelligence, it's no longer a technology discussion. And let's begin with the big picture. So for many years, AI was viewed as a technology project. It really belonged in the IT department. But today that has changed completely. And AI now has become a business capability. And very much like, you know, electricity or the internet before, it will influence almost every function within an organization. It's going to change how we serve customers, how decisions are made, how products are designed, or how operations are managed. And the organizations that benefit the most won't necessarily have the best AI, but they will have the best business strategy for using AI. And that's why I like to think about AI in terms of three kind of core outcomes: higher productivity, better decision making, and ultimately competitive advantage. And these are business outcomes, they're not technology outcomes. Next slide, please. So returning to that question I got from that managing director, why is this happening now? And why wasn't everyone talking about AI 5 years ago? The answer is that, three important developments have arrived at around exactly the same time. First of all, organizations already possess, enormous quantities of data. Every customer interaction, every invoice, every production record and email creates valuable information. Secondly, computing power has become significantly more inexpensive and widely available through cloud services. You no longer need a multi-million euro investment to experiment with artificial intelligence. And thirdly, the models themselves have become extraordinarily capable and easy to access. Very powerful AI systems are available to you almost immediately. So again, today, technology is rarely the limiting factor. The limiting factor in a lot of cases is organizational readiness. And that's where leadership in terms of deploying AI becomes really critical. Next slide, please. So I look at this as a kind of an AI maturity pyramid. And this contains the central message of my talk today. So when a lot of organizations begin thinking about AI, they often start at the very top and they ask, which AI platform should we buy? But really successful organizations work from the bottom up when you're talking about artificial intelligence. Everything has to begin with a very clearly defined business problem. And that can be, we spend too much time processing invoices, or our customer response times are too slow. Our engineers spend too much time writing reports and so on. And once that problem is understood, the next question becomes, well, do we have the right data? Is our data accurate and can we access it? And is it governed appropriately? And only then should organizations begin running small pilot projects. You can have all the AI systems in the world, but if you don't have good data, you're going to struggle. So, organizations can begin, they can run small pilot projects. And if those pilots demonstrate measurable value, AI will gradually become integrated across different business processes. And eventually AI will become embedded throughout the organization. So whenever I see organizations struggling with AI, they've almost always skipped the first two steps. So technology isn't the foundation for this. The business problems are, and it's really important to pin those down first. Next slide, please. Just on the negative side, not all AI projects are successful. So, why do some AI projects fail? Well, one encouraging finding that we've seen is that most AI failures aren't actually technical failures. Again, they're management failures. Sometimes organizations just buy technology before they fully understand the problems they're trying to solve. As I've already mentioned, sometimes poor data quality can produce very unreliable results. And sometimes there's no executive sponsor driving the project and keeping oversight. Or people haven't agreed what success actually looks like when deploying AI. You can just imagine approving a construction project in your company without deciding what building you're actually trying to construct. And that's effectively what many AI projects do. So the lesson is quite straightforward. Leadership discipline matters more than technical sophistication. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, people often assume that AI transformation is an IT project, but in reality, the technology represents only one piece of the puzzle. So leadership in your organizations need to really establish direction. Employees need to build new skills, and the governance needs to define acceptable use for AI. You can't just have employees uploading confidential documentation into an AI system willy-nilly. It has to be very carefully managed. And managers need to bring people with them through the change. So the biggest challenge isn't installing software, it's helping people to work differently. And organizations that understand this can move much faster because they treat AI as a business transformation rather than as a technology deployment. Next slide, please. So whenever we discuss AI, we also need to discuss trust and risk. As I've said, and as you already know at this point, AI is remarkably capable, but it's not perfect. We've all heard stories about artificial intelligence creating hallucinations, and that is true. Typical AI systems do their best to tell you what they think you want to know. So you always need to check the outputs that come from an AI system. And in fact, as an aside, if you're putting together an AI prompt for ChatGPT, for example, you should always tell it it's okay to say you don't know the answer. That might sound silly, but it actually does work. But operationally, sometimes AI can produce very convincing answers that are incorrect. Also, from a legal perspective, organizations need to think very carefully about GDPR, about intellectual property and confidential information. And also in terms of your company reputation, poor AI generated content can damage customer confidence in your organization. I myself have interacted with a couple of AI bots recently for a certain car brand, and the responses have been fairly nonsensical coming from the bot, and it just leads to customer frustration. But perhaps the biggest risk here then is the human factor. When people get very used to artificial intelligence systems, they sometimes stop questioning the output of those systems. And there's a real risk, and I've seen it myself, that critical thinking gradually disappears. And people and humans essentially quite often are happy just to hand over to AI completely and take its responses verbatim. That's a significant risk. So, excuse me, a simple piece of advice: treat AI as if it's an exceptionally capable graduate employee in your organization. It can work incredibly quickly. It can create really valuable ideas for you. But before those ideas leave the organization, really an experienced professional should always review them. And it's really important that, once you get your AI system on board, that you train it and you make it understand how your company communicates internally and externally, and how it does its business. Because the more an AI system learns about that, the more in sync it will be when it produces answers for you. So simple message is trust artificial intelligence, but double check and verify everything you do. Next slide, please. So there isn't, in terms of choosing your AI strategy, there isn't a single AI strategy that's suitable for every organization. A lot of organizations decide that buying tools is the right first step. And, this can deliver immediate value with relatively little investment. For example, if you purchased a professional account on one of the LLMs like ChatGPT, for example, you can get a lot more responses, you can get a lot more detail, feed a lot more information into it, and it can be quite immediate. Other times, organizations benefit a lot from working with research centers, such as ourselves or the guys in Factory Exchange and so on, or specialist partners who fully understand their sector. And thirdly, in terms of you can build your own AI solution, but only a relatively small number of organizations should develop or deploy their proprietary AI solutions, unless they're AI companies, of course. These investments make sense, when AI becomes a genuine source of competitive differentiation. But for most organizations, there's a quite simple progression from buying to partnering to building in that order. And in fact, I would strongly recommend if you're still not sure about how to engage with AI, partner with someone, talk to an EDIH, talk to Enterprise Ireland or your local enterprise office, or talk to the technology gateways. That's what these organizations are there for. Next slide, please. So if you wanted to build a 30-day roadmap for AI, let's return to our managing director that I mentioned earlier. And let's say he asked me, what shall I do on Monday morning? And this would be a very straightforward answer. Week 1, identify the business problem. Just one business problem, not 20, just the one, and agree what success looks like in meeting that business problem. Then in week 2, look at your data, understand it, and look at your existing processes. You know, many organizations discover very valuable improvements before introducing any AI at all. And in fact, you could engage with a research organization to take a look at your data and to get an AI system to actually analyze it. You'll be amazed the insights that AI will produce just by looking at raw data coming from an organization. In week 3, run one small pilot. Don't aim for everything to be perfect. Aim for learning what AI can do for your organization. And then in week 4, step back, review the evidence that's come out, review it honestly. Did it actually save time? Has it improved quality? Has it reduced cost? If it has, scale it and go again. If it's not, learn from it and try something else. That approach will dramatically reduce risk when you're building your organizational confidence. Next slide, please. So in terms of measuring success, you don't need to measure AI itself, you measure business performance. Nobody wins just because they implement, for example, ChatGPT. They win because they've reduced costs, they've improved their customer satisfaction, they've reduced errors, or they've delivered products more quickly. So again, every AI initiative needs to begin with measurable business outcomes. And if the outcome isn't measurable, it probably isn't ready to become a project. Next slide, please. So there are a couple of questions every leadership team should ask before you select any AI platform. Again, what problem are we trying to solve? Do we have the right data? Who's going to own this initiative and be responsible for it? How can we manage our risks? How will success be measured? And you can notice something interesting here. None of these things mention actually technology. They're leadership questions, and technology can come afterwards. Next slide, please. So in terms of being an AI-enabled organization, this is where I believe organizations are heading. AI won't replace people. It'll change the work people do. I know there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that people are afraid they're going to lose their jobs because of AI. I don't really believe that. Jobs will change. Routine activities are going to become more automated. People will be able to spend more time solving problems and making decisions and engaging with customers. The processes can become smarter and improvements become continuous. So the highest performing organizations, they won't have fewer talented people. They'll have more talented people working alongside these intelligent systems. Next slide, please. So if you take away only 3 things, and I'm almost finished from today, let them be these. Always begin with your business problem. Invest in people, leadership, and governance alongside technology. Only scale initiatives that produce measurable business value. Don't begin by asking which AI platform I should buy. Begin by asking what business problem is worth solving, and everything else will follow from there. Next slide, please. And as you've already heard, the encouraging news is that organizations, you don't need to take this journey alone. Ireland has a really excellent ecosystem to support your digital transformation in terms of the EDIs, the technology gateways, Enterprise Ireland, and different types of research institutes, such as ourselves in Walton. These organizations, they exist to reduce the risk for you as companies and to lower the cost and to accelerate your adoption. And really the hardest part is just taking the first step. But once you engage with that ecosystem, there's a vast amount of expertise actually available. Next slide. So thank you for your time this afternoon. I know we'll be taking questions a little bit later, and I hope it's given you some ideas on how to go forward. As I said, it's not a technology challenge, it's a leadership challenge. Just on the left-hand side of the slide, if anybody wants it, we did run a ChatGPT webinar. It was about a year ago in conjunction with the Chambers of Commerce. So that link will bring you to the webinar. It's only an hour, the slides, my own example prompts that I use in GPT systems. And the webinar shows you how to create, how to structure prompts in ChatGPT. You've probably seen a lot of this already, but if you haven't, it's probably worth taking time to have a look. How to create video, how to create presentations, how to analyze spreadsheets, and so on. That's a free resource. You can just download it from that link, and I'll stop there. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate that. I love that. Technology is not the starting point, the business problems are. And a 30-day plan, 4 steps over 4 weeks, really helpful. So thank you very much. I will now pass to Barry Fitzpatrick, Service Portfolio Manager from Factory Exchange. Please do keep the questions coming in, and time permitting, we'll try and have a decent Q&A at the end. So over to you, Barry.
Great. Thanks so much. And thanks for the invite, Enterprise Ireland. It's great to see so many businesses online here, and it's a great webinar, and it's much needed. I think some of the research you've done and the stats in terms of illustrating the need and demand for this type of work is great. So what I'm going to do is going to talk about two things. One is what I'm seeing on the ground in terms of what businesses are doing, and some of the challenges. And the second piece is going to show you a pathway. So that's how you can access sports, discounted sports, and that's through the Factory Exchange platform, one of the eddies that Laura talked about. I think so there's different types of business. There's micro, there's very small, there's medium, and there's large, and they all have the same challenges in terms of adoption of AI, but they all have different advantages to their size. So while larger organizations, are struggling with there's cultural issues, there's data, there's siloed departments, it's a lot more difficult to implement and deploy AI across the organization. And the good news is that smaller companies are really well poised to adopt this technology. They're very nimble. They can turn on a dime. They don't have big data or legacy or cultural challenges to overcome. So it's great news. If you're a small business, adopting AI is a lot easier than the large businesses. But what's emerging is what I call the thinking divide. And the thinking divide is between those, let's call them decision makers, CEOs, boards, owners, the decision makers. It's the division between the decision makers who view AI as an enterprise-wide opportunity. So it's about a strategic mindset in terms of, can this technology influence enterprise-wide everywhere in the business, and are we aligned, and do we have responsibility and oversight to take on that journey? That's one side. And the other side is those who look at the technology as a point solution. So those who say, well, let's use a standalone chat feature, see how it goes. And really, that divide is the difference between performance and competitive advantage between organizations. The point solution approach takes longer. It doesn't always have the buy-in from leadership, so it often struggles. And that's one of the big challenges for businesses, large, medium, and small. They all suffer the same challenge. So looking at AI as an enterprise solution is really a great way to align people on where we can deploy the technology across the organization. Everyone's bought in, and it opens up the business to possibilities. So really, it's all coming back to, as Kevin suggested, it's the human challenge. And the human challenge is, are we going to take this seriously? Are we going to be aligned in terms of using this technology enterprise-wide to see where it can play a role and build competitive advantage? Because actually, one argument is that your product or service can probably be copied. The new type of competitive advantage coming along is going to be the organization's ability to harness AI to deliver much faster, much more streamlined, much more effective, much more competitive products and services. So if you're really, as an organization, good at AI, that's going to be a competitive advantage for you going forward. And we see it now with companies starting up or reimagining their business models, bringing AI into the business, and it's creating a new type of capability and competitive advantage. So it's really exciting. Some of the businesses are more traditional models I've seen, like recruitment businesses. Now they're turned into AI first businesses. Some are retail B2B businesses who sell products, but now they've become an AI powered organization. So it plays a role in all aspects of the business. So there's some really exciting stuff out there, and it's hidden away. It's not necessarily publicized. But one of the things is not to be overly concerned about the fears around AI taking jobs. Obviously there's safety implications and things like that you have to be aware of. But The only way forward is you to get going with this, playing with it. There's loads of penny drop moments in terms of how it can deliver efficiency in financial reporting twice a week, stock, inventory, HR, marketing. It can do so much so fast, and it creates this kind of sense of, wow, I didn't realize I could do that so fast. But really, a service provider isn't going to deliver that to you. They're going to help you. You've got to start that journey yourself and really start playing around with the different models. And yeah, that's the advice. So for me, it's about those who think as differently from others. That's the difference we're seeing in the Irish marketplace at the moment. But one route for support on this is through the Eddy platform, which is Factory Exchange. This is one of the 4 Eddies. And I'm going to take you through that and just to give you an example of what we do, how we can support, and what type of services we have. And hopefully you'll see something there. What I've done is I've put a QR code on every one of the slides. I'm hugely passionate about moving the dial for small businesses in Ireland. I think SMEs are the backbone of the country. Multinationals go through cycles. Small businesses don't really go through cycles, and it's a much tougher environment for them. So hugely passionate about moving the dial of small businesses in Ireland. And the QR code on each of my slides, if you use your phone, it'll activate a link on your phone. So the camera will activate a link to a form where you can add your name, email address, and company. And I'll get that, and I'll follow up with you if you need just guidance and support in terms of where to get started, and are there services that we have that can help you, or I can refer you on. So 100% happy to do that. And so each of those QR codes on my slides you'll see. So tap away if you want support. But I'll quickly run in through the deck, and this is about starting your AI journey with Factory Exchange. I'll move on to the next slide. So we often don't know where to start, right? And one of the challenges is the skills gap. There's confusion around AI, there's cyber concerns, there's cost, risk, fragmented tech, and no internal capabilities for that. So there's a lot of opportunities not to do it, not to engage with AI. But we want to break those barriers away in terms of help organizations overcome these blockers, as it was called. Next slide, please. So this is what Factory Exchange is really set up to do, and the other European digital innovation hubs as well. So we are based with IMR, Irish Manufacturing Research, and we're supported by 17 expert partners nationwide. So we have a consortium of business partners who are there listing our services on our platform or willing to help. So it's about adopting AI and advanced digital tools, digitize operations end to end, reduce transformation risk, access support at zero cost. So we're 100% discounted services, which is pretty amazing. And it's about improving competitiveness and output for your business as well. So we have a platform, factoryexchange.ie, and you can see it there. You can go to there right now and book a service, 100% discounted. Just move on to the next slide. So we have a traditional approach for businesses. So if you're a small business, obviously, right, so cost is a huge challenge. When you go out to look for consultancy or supports around this adoption of this type of technology, there's expensive consultancy fees. It's very, there's unclear return on investment. Return on investment always comes up, and it is is it a demand for business? So if we're going to spend, what are we going to get? That can often be unclear with this type of technology. There's so many different technology suppliers out there. It's really difficult to navigate. Factory Exchange breaks that. So it's about 100% discounted service. We take the risk out of this onboarding journey. There's practical hands-on implementation. We call it test before you invest. So you can check out, is this right for you at no cost before you invest in adoption or deployment of digital technology. So it's really a testing area that's low risk for you. And we have a national partner ecosystem. So we're all over the country connected with the network, and we do tailor supports for every SME. So it's a great opportunity to remove the barriers that are blocking adoption for Irish businesses. And we'll move on to the next slide there, please. So there's 5 pathways to transformation. Again, a test before invest takes the zero risk, zero commitment. We look at data and AI value chain services as well. So for more detailed work for larger organizations as well. We have skills and training. We offer a lot of partnerships and networking, so there's a lot of cross collaboration between partners and in our ecosystem as well. So there's a lot of sharing and opportunities to network as well, and support to fund investment. So if you feel like there's a opportunity for you, we have some great service providers will help you find that pathway to investment. So it's EU or whatever type of investment it is, and that's a really great service. And we move on. So just some of the examples of services. So we are based in Irish Manufacturing Research. So a lot of our services, well, a good portion of them are based around manufacturing, but we do offer services for many other types of businesses as well. So services around technology and AI would be machine tool optimization, rapid digital prototyping development, a lot of manufacturing-based services. In terms of data and cyber, we do discovery roadmaps for AI, digital transformation assessments, AI-driven data analytics, cybersecurity, computer vision workshops, all these types of services around data and cyber. So really a huge range, and this is only a small snapshot. And then in terms of business and skills development, so we have business plan support. We've got some great companies doing that. Support to fund innovation, training, networking events, and diagnostics, operational excellence diagnostics as well. So that's just a quick snapshot really of 100% discounted services. And these services can be quite expensive, so it's great to avail of that discount while it's still there. Next slide, please. So just to give you a guide, we have a lot of great people. These are experts, and you can book these. We call them digital strategists, and what they do is they will meet with you for half an hour and help you figure out what you need to do. And you go onto the Factory Exchange platform, and the link is down there, factoryexchange.ie/strategy, and you can book a 30-minute call with any of these partners. These are our partners, and they'll point you in the right direction and advise you. And they work across all industries. So that's the first step, connecting with the digital strategists, and we can signpost you to the right place you need to get to. Just the next slide, please. So how it works, basically, it's you register and connect with us. So you book the digital strategist, then you take a digital maturity assessment. So it's a measure of where you are in terms of your digital position, and we measure that after the service is delivered in a year, 6 months or a year, just to see was the dials moved a bit. Then we work to identify opportunities, funding or program opportunities for you. We match you with the services, and those services are delivered. So you're interacting now with the service provider, our partners, and then we scale and transform. So we build on the success. We try and expand your business, and also you can choose other services as well. So it's about moving from A to B, and anything that's successful is such a boost for us as well to see companies doing so well, moving on that transformation journey. So we're really passionate team behind that. So next slide, please. We've delivered 690 services, which is quite good, and 560 unique clients supported. So really a broad variety of businesses. All businesses we've covered actually. We have a good satisfaction rating, which is really good. The quality of the partners and the service delivery is really excellent. And then of course all across the country, our 17 expert partners are there. So we're not just Dublin based, we're regional. So that's really good, right across the country. Next slide, please. So just to give an example, who our partners are. So we have KPMG, Creative Spark, so Inventia. So these are all ideation, creative agencies, consultancy, tech, university, academia, cybersecurity experts, research centers. So there's a great mix, and it's a very unique consortium of talent, and more services are being listed from this consortium all the time. So yeah, it's a really great mix, and they're very good people as well. So very happy to promote them. Now onto our next slide. So the competitive. So here's the thing: we need to move from pilots to full deployment, and and from experimentation to delivering some type of operational value or competitive advantage within your organization, and moving from uncertainty to transformation. That's really the strategic vision here. It's how can we move from the early stage, the pilots, the learning, into something where we're actually creating value for Irish SMEs. And this is what I referred to earlier, building competitive advantage, AI-powered competitive advantage within companies, no matter what the size, is really going to enhance competitive advantage and differentiate you from your competitors, because we know that abroad in different countries and continents, governments are doubling down on AI-powered business, and we have AI-powered startups as well coming out of nowhere that are taking on challenging incumbents in the market. So really, we want to build that capability and learning. It's like a muscle, though. You've got to do it yourself, learn, train, have those penny drop moments, have the team on board, aligned, and that's when you start to build that capability. It's not perfect. It's just learning. It's like learning a new operating system. So you've got to be ready to learn and ready to deploy and ready to, make the mistakes and try again. But we want to move the businesses right over to operational value, deployment, and transformation excellence. So that's on to the next slide, please. So there you go. So here we are, factoryexchange.ie. At the moment, we have 100% discounted services. And you can book your session today with our digital strategists. Right now, you can do it. And also the QR code. So I'll personally reach out to every one of you if you want to book, take a picture of that QR code, and we'll help you out on the journey. And let's get Ireland, let's get all the SMEs moving. And, we're going to get there. So let's get there together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Barry. Very much appreciate that. That was great. And we've got some great questions coming in. So, and pretty much bang on time, which is fantastic. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to invite Laura and Kevin to turn their cameras and their mics back on, and we'll try and get through some of the questions here for the next maybe 5 or 6 minutes or so. A lot of the questions actually are coming in looking for maybe practical examples. And I know, so maybe I'll just kick off maybe with some of them are directed for Kevin, but that was just the timing. It was directly after Kevin's presentation. But is there one business use case or business problem that you've implemented that saves significant time or money or resources, is one of the questions coming in. So I'll pass that over to Kevin.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 because I see some of the questions there. I can't name the company that we're engaged with on this one, but they're a traditional manufacturing company, and an awful lot of their expertise is embedded in very old documentation that's in very various locations around the organization and on their various databases and so on. So we're building an agentic AI solution that's basically an AI agent that'll pull together all those various user manuals, guides, know-how from people and so on, and create an interactive system for employees to engage with if they have a query about product development or services or whatever within the business. I'll give you another example. Is we're working with a company in Waterford called Carton Controls, and Carton is a global leader in ultra high purity valve solutions, and they're based down in Waterford. And we're building an AI solution with Carton Controls. You can see the case study on our website, so I'm not giving away anything secret here. But we're developing what we call Smart Valve AI, which is a real-time condition monitoring platform designed to enable algorithmic predictive maintenance across critical flow systems. So it can constantly watch these devices that Carton produces and monitor their performance and signal when action needs to be taken. And that significantly speeds up their operation, and it significantly cuts down on their time in terms of maintenance windows and so on.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kevin. And I think, yeah, I'll just call out, obviously, where we don't want to call out any particular. I know everyone's really seeking examples. We obviously had insights from business on our last webinar. We just want to be mindful that we only talk to companies that are happy to be talking about. And in terms of technology, we're not really making any particular recommendations here, but I guess it is about finding what's right for your business. Barry, is there any particular specific examples that you can think of as well in terms of completed projects or processes that have transitioned maybe from human or manual to more AI or more automated, and maybe more what was done, the steps taken?
Yeah, sure. So I have a recent example of a business owner who recently acquired a business. There's 8 staff in it, and he decided to create what he describes as the AI brain. So basically what that does, he's broken the business function down into folders, and each folder is managed by an agent, and into those folders are all the business documentation and reports. So finance, marketing, stock, inventory, and strategy. So what's happening is the brain is actually understanding all the documents and recommending, based on the strategy, the next steps. It's arranging meetings. It's delivering financial reports twice a week, status updates, team meetings, marketing, unbelievable stuff. Like, it's just accelerated the business. The staff who are very happy to be part of it are getting really involved in it. And what's it's done to that business within a couple of months, this is only about 2 months, 3 months, it's delivered a new type of capability where they're now thinking, well, actually, we can do this a lot faster. We can actually expand into these other markets. So in that short space of time, it's done a couple of things, delivered incredible speed of data, incredible outputs in terms of much in sales, let's say, much faster reaction to customers, much further outreach for sales. It's brought inbound business in. It's just so many ways across the company. It's affected the business. So this is a very, very short period. This has only happened in a couple of months. So it's showing real results at the moment. So, and that was someone who just acquired the business, decided to bring in AI, and there we go. So they are now thinking about expanding into other markets in such a short space of time, which is incredible. So I can't give any figures or numbers, but yeah, it's pretty impressive.
No, appreciate that story. Thank you, Barry. There's a couple of things on the chat mentioning mentoring programs to support these business leaders. So I was talking about the Enterprise Ireland mentoring program for their clients, which is great. I'm sure you'd get supports like that through the Leos also. SkillNet Ireland runs a mentors work program. Look that up as well, which is great. And they all have kind of digital and AI pillars in them, and expertise in this space. There is a great question here, which is kind of like, how do you plan for uncertainty? In startups, it's often the case where the initiative is heading into new territory, especially with AI transformational innovation, business modeling impacts. That's a mouthful. So fixed planning often doesn't work well. So it's really interesting. We're trying to give people a kind of the 30-day plan here, but actually in some instances, it's how do we plan or / unplan for that kind of uncertainty that we're all facing. I think we know that the market itself is quite uncertain at the moment. So I don't know if that's, the 30-day plan, if that's, Kevin, maybe something that you is it a plan that you can unplan as well?
Well, yeah, it is, absolutely, because you can break it down, as I said, into small steps. Break down small pieces of the problem that you want to solve using AI, and it's very easy to unplan or undo what you're thinking of doing in that instance. If your first foray into the use of AI is a large scale project, where maybe critical business systems are depending on it, that's a risk, so break it down into manageable chunks, essentially.
I guess, and it's focus on the problem as well, and then how you solve it can respond to the environment and the changes that are happening as well. We're coming up to 5 minutes. I'll just even hand over to Laura in terms of last words, and like everyone, there's some people here are looking for specific technologies that might help them with, accounting and KPI calculations, financial reporting. But I guess in terms of everybody probably has a different challenge on the call here. And if Laura, you just want to even give a sense of.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on that. I mean, looking for a specific case and the silver bullet isn't necessarily helpful to everybody on the call. What the Eddies will do, and I've seen this time and time again through real examples, is they'll take a client and go through everything that they need to do. They'll do some horizon kind of scanning with them, road mapping what they should be aiming for, and maybe changing their minds about what they think they need to do. Examples being, and this would be a company that has spoken openly in public domain about their engagement with the Eddies, ReaverFusion. It's a medtech company, started engaging with Entire down in Cork, had a real-time asset location tracking system that they wanted to optimize but needed a hospital to trial it in. Mercy Hospital in Cork came in and said, well, look, we'll trial it because we actually need this. 80% of their assets are mobile and shared, so they weren't able to at any time find them, which isn't very operationally efficient. So there was a win-win scenario there, in that the company was able to get more data to optimize the system. The hospital was able to test it before they actually went and procured the system, so they could see that it worked in a sort of a de-risked area. And then from that, they went on, the company ReaverFusion went to work with Cedar. So swinging from branch to branch, they decided then, well, we need an AI system. This has worked really well. We need an AI system to help us with our quotation system. So they were able to build a chatbot and an intelligent dialogue system to help them to streamline and automate the quotation system they were offering to their customers. So they were operating in different facing facets of their business to leverage the different supports across the Eddies. And it was a win-win from both a public service sector perspective and the client's perspective. So it's that kind of piece of saying Eddies will help you navigate around and step down projects and step up projects, and however that may be managed. So I suppose giving a specific to say this is the thing that everybody should be doing for system generating quotes or generating price lists or KPIs, it's kind of talk to the Eddies. You'll get kind of guidance on where might be a worthwhile place to invest your energy.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And with that, and in the interest of time, we will wrap up the Q&A. So I'd like to say a huge thank you to Laura, Kevin and Barry for their time and their contribution today. And I'll now hand over to Alexa Toomey, Head of Scaling and Enterprise Strategies for Enterprise Ireland, to close out the session. Over to you, Alexa.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you everybody for joining us here on today's webinar, and to Barry and Kevin and Laura for all the really great insights that we've got from them. I suppose I won't take long, but I just think it's important as we kind of finish up this series of webinars to really kind of talk to everybody who's stuck with us to this stage at 3 minutes to 2 around what they can do next. And I think if there's one theme that's come out of all of the webinars, but in particular today's webinars, it's really about the importance of getting started, of engaging with your leadership team, of kind of beginning to develop those really, really robust plans, which can lead to really strong AI deployment within your businesses and all of the benefits that hopefully can bring. So if we can just move on to the next slide. I think it's kind of labouring the point, but it's just to say help is at hand. We've heard about all the supports that are available through the EDIHs. We are aware of all the supports, and Michelle has covered some of the supports that are available through SkillNet Ireland as well. And again, from ourselves internally in Enterprise Ireland, we have a wide range of digital and AI supports that are available to our clients. So, between all of us, we've got a lot of support that will help you to look at that kind of digital adoption and deployment, including the planning phase, supports that are going to help you to de-risk that kind of product process and business model development as you move from planning into execution. And then really, as you bring this within your business, how are you going to kind of mainstream all of those capability kind of enhancements that AI can bring into your business, and equally how you're going to make sure that you have the skills available within your company and within your team to kind of operate to the best of their capability in an AI enabled world. And then of course it wouldn't be Enterprise Ireland if we didn't talk about what we do on the startup side. So in parallel to all of the work that we're doing with our existing SMEs, we are of course co-funding the next generation of AI startups that are emerging. So really I think that the ask today is to please get in touch. So whether it's Enterprise Ireland, SkillNet Ireland, one of the EDIHs, please drop us a line, pick up the phone. We're here to help, and we really are very eager to work with SMEs right across Ireland to support them on their AI journey. So for our final slide, if we can just move on, I think what's been really, really valuable as we've gone through these past 4 webinars has been hearing from you. We are going to take pause for summer. Even ourselves in Enterprise Ireland and SkillNet Ireland need to take a pause in the summertime sometimes. But we will be back in autumn, so we want to hear from you. What are the challenges you're facing? What are the big opportunity areas that you're investing in? So if you can take less than 5 minutes to just fill out your feedback survey, it's on the QR code there. We'd really, really appreciate hearing from you. So we might just move back a slide because I skipped over it. The contact details are all there. So if you're an Enterprise Ireland client, please contact your client advisor. If you're connected into the SkillNet network already, please contact your SkillNet Business Network, or indeed our colleague Stephen Lyons in SkillNet Ireland can help to direct you. And we've all the contact details for the EDIHs there. So please do reach out, and we look forward to working with you all. Thanks for coming today. Bye-bye.